from a lamb that was born in January, so from one of the early lambers. It would have been most likely a Suffolk cross or some such breed. It's what we call an Easter lamb, really. So the lambs that are born in January are fattened for the early market, whereas later on in the season you get the lambs that are born in March, April coming into the shops. So I'll hand over to Darren now to make a start, and I'll just chip in with bits about the farm as we go along.
Super, thanks for that, Jack. What we need to do first is we need to separate the lamb into its primal cuts. Now, a lamb's got 3 primal cuts: the force, the middle, and its legs. So what we need to start first is taking the force off. And what we do is inside the carcass, starting from the front, count 6 ribs in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's interesting, isn't it?
And we just mark it at 6 up to the top of the breastbone there. Then we need to do the same on the other side. Now,
Sharp knife.
we join those 2 marks together. Then we use a saw to cut through. It's important not to cut through the meat right through with the saw. It tears the meat, makes it turn black, ragged, and it turns off very, very quickly. So you need to use a knife to get a nice clean cut. So we cut straight down onto the spine, then again we'll use the saw and cut through the spine. And again, once through, just finish off with your knife. And that's the force, or the shoulder as it's normally known. Next we need to separate the middle and the legs.
Makes it look easy.
So what we do for that is we feel down the leg until you feel the end of the hip bone, which is usually, can't find this one, just there, just that mark there. And all we're going to do, make a mark there, same on the other side, again join the lines together, then we'll cut through with the saw.
You do it.
So I apologise if there's any vegetarians here, but it's obviously for people who like eating their meat and who are interested in where it comes from. It's interesting to see how it gets from the farm to the plate, and this is the start of the process. So when people are buying meat, Darren, what should they be looking for in terms of the fat cover and things?
You want something with a nice fat cover. I mean, I will admit, when we get our pigs contain a lot of fat, just because they're rare breeds, which helps with the flavour. So we trim as much off there as we can, but you still need a nice layer of fat to help with the flavouring.
The other thing we're doing here at Old Jar is we're trying to produce as much as possible animals from grass, which is especially cattle and sheep, to fatten the animals and on grass, because it does affect the meat quality. You get a much better quality meat from animals that have been predominantly grass fed, and it's also more environmentally friendly because you're not importing feed from overseas to feed them on. So and we're also using a lot of native breeds as well, which also native breeds usually produce the best quality meat because they have intramuscular fat, which is called marbling. So when you cook it, it makes the meat a lot more succulent. Right, so I'll what's the next bit then?
We're going to do separate the legs is the next bit.
Okay, I think everyone knows what a leg of lamb looks like, so we never have problem in selling the legs of lamb.
That's what Nanny cooks sometimes at Christmas.
Yeah. I might not want a turkey now.
It's always when we get to the forequarter,
Nice,
which
though.
is this
You've got to
piece,
eat it.
the shoulder,
Good meat.
the neck, which you have when the butcher has to be a bit more
You do
creative to
sometimes
make it
well.
look appealing to the customer. So
lamb.
some of it will be
Bacon,
broken down into diced lamb for stewing. Some will be the bits. The neck can either be done for stewing, or it can be the meat can be taken off it and put through the mincer to get your mince. And obviously then you can turn the mince into anything you like, lasagna or burgers or moussaka or anything like that. The shoulder is a very good value cut because you get some people say the sweetest meat comes from the shoulder, and it's often probably 2/3 of the price of what the leg is. So the canny people, they will tend to buy a shoulder of lamb and slow roast it in the oven with a lot of herbs and spices.
Hungry?
Yeah.
We get a burger, yeah?
Yeah, when
Great.
I think it won't go down, to be honest, but it will be nice.
that's what Mummy says, go on the road and then go back to there.
Have a nice burger. Them burgers will be nice in McDonald's, but you might not be familiar. You remember when we had the burger at the circus?
No, the hot dog.
A lot of
hot
people
dog, sorry.
just mainly get a leg of lamb and roast it. Lots of things you can do with legs of lamb. Fantastic on the bone, it's also fantastic boneless, and there's many things you can do with it. So what I'll do
There are.
is quickly take out
She's taking it off it
the bone
now.
there.
She's taking it off. That's the lamb, it's its
I
leg.
just didn't know what bones are because I can't see them. And I
Covered
can
in the
say
meat, isn't it?
Those two. You know.
See, he's quite skillful, so he knows how to use it.
I think it was not 60. Oh my god, the iron.
Yeah, 16, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I get confused.
No, it won't be 6, no.
That piece there,
Yeah, because that
What's that?
normally known as a lamb rump or a chump, which is usually used to cut into chump steaks or chops. Chops if it's left on the bone, steaks if it's boneless. So there, off that one chump or lump rump, you've got 3 cracking lamb steaks.
So he'll put them on salad in a minute.
Also, off the leg, you get the shank. Shanks are really nice, marinated for a couple of days and slow roasted for hours, 4 or 5 hours. The lower the temperature, the longer, the more tender your lamb shank becomes. Right, another thing you can do with the leg is you've got the bone that runs straight through there. Usually you tunnel bone it if you were doing a boneless leg of lamb for a customer. But today I'm just going to take the bone out and I'm going to butterfly it open. Butterfly leg of lamb is great on the barbecue.
We'll have to have a barbecue soon, won't we?
What's that boy thing sticking out of there?
Inside, that's its bone.
What is that? Oh god. It's a that boy, you know, like a little joint, you know.
So what we call lamb is basically anything up to a year old. So anything from about, usually they're around 5-6 months when they go to the abattoir, but they can be anything up to a year old. And
She's grown,
when they're
isn't it?
a year old, the sheep start getting their first 2 mature teeth. So that's when they're called hoggets. When they're a year old, they become a hogget, and then if they're a female and they become a breeding sheep, then they're known as a ewe, and if they're a male used as breeding, then they're called a ram. There's many different names for different kinds of sheep, and geographically it depends on where you are in the country as well. In Yorkshire they call 2-year-old ewes, they call them thieves, because the farmers had to keep them for 2 years. They haven't produced anything. They don't produce lambs until they're 2 years old, and they've basically stolen a year's feed, especially over the winter. They've eaten the farmer out of house and home over the winter, and they've not produced anything. So they're called thieves.